Let's go.
Here we are. We are back here with Mr. James Lovett. He's got here a video about passports and what he thinks is the issue with passports and some of the things that he believes. So let's listen to this video here. And yeah, we'll watch the video and we'll talk about it.
It's the wolf.
It's the wolf.
Coming at you with new information. Well, I digress. Not necessarily new information, but information I've definitely already put up in bits and pieces. I'm going to try to cover the whole Monchichi, if you will, right here. So, this particular video is going to be labeled the 5-star U.S. citizen passport and the 5 versus the 5-star U.S. national passport.
So he's talking about the on the U.S. passport. It has sometimes 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 5 asterisks on it, and he's got some interesting ideas about that.
Now, that being said, you guys, can you back up a little bit, just a little?
Sorry, we'll move back.
All right. So, what's the difference? What is this all about? Okay, so if this is their first time to my channel, definitely hit that bell, like, and subscribe, and hold on to your seat because we're about to cover a lot of information, and there's a whole lot more information on my channel. So if you're looking for anything specific, go to the main website on YouTube and Google information there. You can follow all the videos in chronological order for those people who are like, oh, I'm all lost. They're all numbered there, blah, 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 okay? Also, for those people out there who have seen videos out there where other people are using my material, probably without my consent, if they're using it in a bad way, definitely feel free to report those people, especially if they are doing something in a negative way, calling us sovereign citizens or whatever else. That is not what we're about.
I mean, whether or not he does or does not identify as a sovereign citizen, that's neither here nor there. He definitely falls in the category. So, I mean, the definitions of what and what is not a sovereign citizen or U.S. national or non-citizen U.S. national or whatever he's talking about, the definition is the same.
We are U.S. nationals as declared by the Department of State, and if they don't know that, well, then they're just morons in the first place. So, I digress. Let's get back to it. I want to thank everybody for supporting the channel. We're almost...
See, I'm not trying to make fun of James. That's not my intent, although he does make it difficult to not at times. I just want to make sure that he is putting out the correct information, that the information he's putting out is the right information, and that he's not trying to lead people astray, whether by design or by accident.
10,000, so congratulations to everybody. We are right there. I know we're going to do it by the end of this month. We only have like 100 and some odd, maybe 200 to go. So you can do it. All right, so what is the difference? Well, now this is educational information only. We are non-belligerent, non-combatants.
I have no idea what that is.
As described and declared by the Department of State, non-U.S. citizens, nationals, okay? Non-U.S. citizens, U.S. nationals, or non-U.S. Citizens, nationals, state citizens, American nationals, those all mean the same things. So for the love of God, if any of you people out there, if you guys want to call yourselves sovereign citizens, that's fine, but there is no such legal classification.
No, you're right. There is no such legal classification because it's not a legal term, and your U.S. nationals, non-U.S. citizen national thing is not it's not a real thing either.
That's why cops and judges and whoever else give you a hard time, and they like to label people like us who are in our correct standing as non-U.S. nationals as sovereign citizens, which is not the case. We are absolutely 100% not. Not me, and not the people who are doing it correctly. People who are doing it incorrectly and who are doing damage and who are terrorizing people and places and things, those would be sovereign citizens who think they are completely above the law, okay, and don't have to answer to anybody and do whatever they want. They clearly are not self-governing, which is the difference between us non-U.S. nationals, state citizens. And for the morons out there who don't know this information, I highly suggest you do some reading, contact the Department of State, or, I don't know, get a passport and look at the bottom of the Declaration section on there, and it says, I declare under penalty of perjury that I'm a U.S. citizen or a non-citizen national, or a non-citizen U.S. national. So,
right,
booyah,
okay.
before you guys going out there. And
I don't know if anybody was able to follow that. I don't think I was completely. He bounces around quite a bit. Like, I don't think he really understands what he's trying to say. Like, non-U.S. citizens, nationals, state citizens, I don't understand what he's talking about. If you're born in the United States, you're a United States citizen. Just like if you're born in Canada, you're a Canadian citizen. That's automatic. It's birthright. So I don't know where he gets the difference or what kind of distinction he's trying to make.
once again, if you guys see anybody using this information in a negative way, feel free to report them to YouTube because they are inciting hate and misinformation. Now, that being said, this entire video and everything on my YouTube is educational information only, so always do your own research.
Right. Education only. Education only. Got it.
Now, let's get down to business.
Finally.
All right. So we now know through trial and error, education only, that there are two classifications on the passport, which this part is accurate. Either a U.S. citizen, which is a citizen of the corporation, or a non-U.S. national, which is somebody of the geographical United States of America and under that Constitution. Each one of those has two different constitutions that you can abide by, including your own state.
Right. So, yes, each state has a constitution, and the United States of America has a constitution. Anything other than that, I don't know what he's talking about. Just like in Canada, every province has a constitution, and then Canada as a whole has a constitution or Bill of Rights. So it's just very confusing the point he's trying to make.
State has a constitution. Washington, D.C. has its own constitution. The United States of America, the agreement of all the states being together, has a constitution. Which one are you under?
Okay, well, if each state has a constitution and the United States of America has a constitution, Washington, D.C. has a constitution, which sounds right. I mean, I'm not going to check that. I'll take his word for it because D.C. is the District of Washington, the District of Columbia. So it would make sense that they would have its own constitution, just like every other state has its own constitution. But Washington, D.C. technically is not a state. And it's that way on purpose.
That's where you belong, okay?
Right, so you belong either under the state constitution and then on a larger scale, the U.S. Constitution. Those are the umbrellas under which every U.S. citizen operates.
Belong in actually both, all right? Because as the law states, all U.S. citizens are U.S. nationals, but not all U.S. nationals are U.S. citizens.
That is correct.
Okay, so if they call you a citizen, you are in fact a U.S. national.
Same thing. Same thing, James. Same thing.
That's what it says. And we already discussed this under 8 U.S.C. 1101-22 code. So look it up for those.
Okay, I'm just going to back it up a little bit here.
You are in fact a U.S. national. That's what it says. And we already discussed this under 8 U.S.C. 1101-22 code. So look it up for those morons out there who don't know what's going on, okay?
Okay, so let's look that up here. I'm going to bring up a window. That's not the right window. Let's just have a look here, shall we, James? Okay, that's my new dash cam. All right, so I'm just going to look that up. 8 USC 11-0-22. Okay, so that didn't bring up anything. Okay, US Code 42. How about this? Code. Okay. That's not it. 8. Let's try that. 8. Code. Okay, so we got codes for emergency hazardous chemicals, hazard planning, emergency planning, Community Right to Know Act, Arizona Administrative Code. I don't know what you're talking about, James.
Note what status you're in before running your mouse. All right. That being said,
well, I'm a Canadian, so I'm going to run my mouth.
A U.S. citizen, we now have seen that the way they fill out their passport has been able to get up to 5 stars. A non-U.S. citizen or non-U.S. citizen national can get up to 5 stars. But what do they really mean? Well, we've been able to see that typically if you have a 5-star, either way that you're considered a either no threat or a really reduced threat individual. Now, like I said, this is not in writing anywhere.
Yeah, what he said is true. This is not in writing anywhere. There is no policy. There are no legal cases. There is nothing, absolutely nothing to support what he's saying here.
This is just from an observation that we've done over the years.
Observation is not data. Well, okay, observation is data, but until it's recorded and processed and peer-reviewed, it doesn't mean anything, James. It's all hearsay. What happens to you, what experience you have with a 3 versus a 5-star passport may not be the same experience that somebody else has. So repeating it as if it's true is completely irresponsible.
To see how people who have had these certain statuses, if you will, go through certain checkpoints, especially like your TSAs and your dockyards or whatever, have been treated, where people have been treated better, we'll just say, who have had 5 versus somebody who's had 3 or 2. Now, once you file your paperwork the correct way, that does not mean that you have to have a 5-star. So I apologize for some of the information we talked about earlier on, because we didn't know and we assumed, but we were working on it. Well, like I said, we can now say that once you file your paperwork the correct way, you get your status, okay? But the stars kind of then tell inside people only if you're somebody that they should probably check more.
And he's saying this with absolutely no evidence. He's admitted that it's anecdotal, and he has literally nothing to prove what he's saying is true.
Okay. Now, we could be wrong, okay? Because even the that I read said, we are aware that the stars exist, but officially they're not there, okay? So they see them, and they know that certain people get different ones, but even they admit they don't know what they are.
Who's they, James? Cite your source. Come on.
So if you're somebody out there who knows exactly what they are, even though I've been given some inside information that I can't validate from an anonymous party about that information,
then why are you using it? If you can't validate it from an anonymous party, then it's meaningless, James. It's absolutely meaningless.
Can't say that is exactly 100% true. And you know what? At this point, who cares? You have your status. That's what's important. So yes, you can be a 3-star non-citizen U.S. national or 5 or whatever else. But
non-citizen U.S. national. Is that a thing? Non-citizen U.S. national. Non-citizen U.S. national. Okay. Non-citizen U.S. nationals include those persons who were born in or born to parents of outlying possessions of the United States according to the Immigration and Nationality Act. Okay, So I'm going to touch on that after this video. We'll finish watching this video, and I've got and then we'll talk about what he's talking about.
Because you have 5 on there, or 3 or 4, does not make you a U.S. national or a non-citizen U.S. national. Okay. We talked about that. So if you want to know for sure what your status is, either you do when your passport expires, that's when you should update your information, start brand new with the brand new DS11, and do it the proper way.
So it doesn't work that way. Once you apply for a passport, the record of that passport exists forever. Okay. So when you go to renew your passport, you're not starting over. You never start over, and you will never start over, because you're not starting from scratch. You already have the passport. All you're doing is renewing it. You cannot submit. I mean, you can. That's fine, but they're going to treat it as a renewal anyway. They're not going to start from scratch. They're not going to give you a brand new number, whatever he's talking about. Keep in mind, this is the United States, and I really have no idea how the United States works. But if it's anything like Canada, and it is, because our societies, our countries have co-evolved, our societies are commingled. Much of our procedures are run in parallel. So I'm sure that their passport offices work much like our passport offices, and you would never submit a new application for a passport that already exists.
However, if you don't want to do that, or you don't have time, you just want to see where you're at right now, remember, guys, all the information that's in their databases, as long as it's not considered, a security thing, you can do an FOIA, or Freedom of Information Act, and find out what status it is. So, that being the case, guys, those are the differences between the statuses that are depicted on the passport card and book and or application. Understand this: police officers and other functionaries, will just say, they do not know what those stars mean. Only the people at certain checkpoints, and we know this for a fact because they check to see.
Do you know it for a fact, or is it secondhand information? Because the last time you brought this up, you said that this information is not available anywhere, and it's only because of some privileged informant that you have this information anyway. So where's the facts? Where are the facts, James?
And my guy A6 out there got to experience the difference between those statuses and see, whereas sometimes you were more so checked with this status, and then suddenly you're checked less with another status. But like I said, this is not concrete evidence. This is just trial and error, because once again, according to my inside person, that the true information on that they will never reveal, because that in fact is considered a security thing. So even though we are alleging, we are assuming, we are guesstimating by responses, almost like rats in a maze, the key thing here is getting your stats and not worrying about what the stars or asterisks or whatever actually mean. Okay, we'll never know. They will never tell us. And if my guess is correct, because I know they watch my channel.
Now that's arrogant. Do you really think your government is going to pay attention to a YouTube channel that only has 10,000 subscribers, that isn't even monetized? I mean, not that that's a big issue. I mean, that's personal. If he doesn't want to monetize his channel, then who's to say that he should? But do you really think the United States government is really concerned about somebody who only has 10,000 subscribers?
Love you guys.
That's cringy.
They will probably phase out those stars at some point in time, and it will be all completely encoded. And I know this to be a fact because they've made other changes because of my channel and information.
Again, the arrogance. Absolute arrogance. The Americans just baffle my mind. They really do.
That was alluded to. And things before me, they've also changed. Like the old days when the original 20-some-year-old DS11 was first out, they changed number 11 from being, are you a state citizen or a U.S. citizen, to now just, are you a U.S. citizen, and put down your spouse information. Okay, that's one.
I have no idea if that's true or not. What this DS11 is, I have no idea. I would assume it's some kind of immigration form, but I didn't bother looking into it, so I'm assuming he's correct.
The things that have changed over.
But he is not correct in assuming that those changes were made because of him. I'm sorry, James, you're just not that important.
Over the years. Not necessarily saying that they were trying to hide it, but they just really want to make sure that you include an explanatory statement to declare yourself the proper way. God bless their little hearts. So, that being said, guys, so yes, for those of you who don't believe that there are different classifications of citizens and nationalities, including your own family nationality.
What? What's a family nationality? I mean, your family can have come from somewhere. Like for instance, my family, I have a mix of French, English, a little Scottish in my family. So he's assuming that that's some kind of national. I mean, I suppose that's a nationality. But it's not one that affects your immigration status or your passport application. They don't care where your parents came from or your grandparents came from. It's your passport application. They only care where you come from and that you were born in the States. What this family nationality is or what it means, I have no idea.
Look on the passport. There are diplomatic passports issued to different nations and dignitaries.
Okay, so let's just take a look at that. Okay, different passports. This is the U.S. Passport Service Guide. This is not a .gov website, so I'm assuming it is not run by the government, but it is somebody that facilitates the application of travel documents like the passport. So you've got a regular passport. A regular passport is issued to American citizens and nationals who may or may not be U.S. citizens. Nationals who are not granted citizenships are those who are born in either American Samoa or Swains Island. Okay, I'm just going to read that again. Nationals who are not granted citizenship are those who are born in either American Samoa or Swains Island. I'm going to talk about this later, but that is the only differentiating quality that makes somebody a U.S. national versus a U.S. citizen. Okay, so that is their whole claim about being U.S. nationals, and that it's something different than U.S. citizens is all gone, debunked, it's over. Okay? Thank you very much. Tip your waitress.
And embassy leaders and whatever else. So there are multiple types of different passports out there for different situations. Just because you apply for a passport as a U.S. citizen and you don't read the information that you signed.
So yeah, so what he's got going here, the different passports, like I said, there's the regular passport, an official passport, and a diplomatic passport. I guess the United States also has a passport card, but I would imagine that would be like for frequent flyer, somebody who travels between countries frequently. But those are the three different kinds of passports. That's it. That's all. Official passport, that would be issued to somebody who is working on behalf of the United States in a foreign country. Like when I was in the military, we were issued green passports, and that is what we traveled on when we were traveling internationally on official business, or in our official capacity as soldiers. That is how we traveled. And then you've got diplomatic passports, so that's issued to foreign service officer or to a person having diplomatic status because he or she is traveling abroad to carry out diplomatic duties on behalf of the United States government. That is why that one is used. So there's only three types of passports. That's it. That's all. Yeah, James, just got to figure out what you're talking about.
Under perjury, And the next option was a non-citizen U.S. national. So let's break down that word again. So you're a non-citizen. Wait for it. Can't wait for the morons out.
Oh, I'm waiting.
Stupid wolf.
Bated breath here, Wolf. Like, give it to me. I'm ready.
You're a non-citizen, but a U.S. national. Okay. Well, the passport says they can only give their passport out or issue to U.S. or citizens of the United States.
Or U.S. nationals.
So guess what? Both those citizenships have to be citizens of the United States.
Yes, that's right. All U.S. citizens are U.S. nationals.
Look up the code I talked about. You'll see it in there. Oh, and by the way, I would suggest going to Cornell Law EDU so you can see what the hyperlinks are. Not just reading somebody's, other paperwork where you can't analyze or see what the hyperlink says about that particular word. The devil's in the detail.
I'm not going to the Cornell University simply because James didn't direct me on where to go, what article to read, what department it's in, or anything like that. And I'm not going to scour a university website for some document that may or may not exist.
So that's about it, guys. Hope you guys got some knowledge out of this. Don't forget to hit that bell, like, subscribe on the way out. I will talk to you guys later. More.
All right, so he's just finishing off his video, so we're going to continue with mine. Okay, so at this point, what I'm going to do is I am going to insert the portion of my last video where I talked about the passport stuff and put it in here. I can't seem to recall which video it's on, but apparently it stuck in my mind long enough to do a little digging. James talks, he mentions in another video, I guess, because I watched this particular one several times and it's not on this video. But he talks about a U.S. national versus U.S. citizen. And to my surprise, that is something that is real. This is the IMMyHelp website. I'm not sure what that stands for, but this is where I found the information. But anyway, so what is a U.S. national? All U.S. citizens are U.S. nationals, but there are some U.S. nationals who are not U.S. citizens. Therefore, this article discusses only U.S. nationals that are not U.S. citizens. Definition: a U.S. national is a person born in or having ties with an outlying possession of the United States, which as of 2019 refers only to American Samoa and Swains Island. Additionally, it also includes those individuals born abroad to two U.S. national parents, or those born abroad to one alien parent and one U.S. national parent. Additionally, there is a residency requirement for the parents of the child prior to birth in order to transmit U.S. nationality. Okay, so what that means, what it's saying is that to be a U.S. national, first of all, if you're born in the United States, then you're automatically a U.S. national. So congratulations, everyone's a U.S. national. Yay! But those people born in American Samoa or Swains Island are not U.S. citizens, they are U.S. nationals. Now, in the past, you got countries like Guam, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, or the Philippines were U.S. nationals. If you were born in those countries during the date specified, you would be considered a U.S. national. Now, there are very few people alive that were born in 1946, 1950, 1917, and 1927. So there's virtually, those countries don't really apply anymore. And besides, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the U.S. Virgin Islands are all U.S. citizens already. So those people would be U.S. nationals as well. If they're U.S. citizens, then they're U.S. nationals. But if they were born in American Samoa or Swains Island, then they're U.S. nationals. Oh, I'm sorry, they're U.S. All U.S. citizens are U.S. nationals, but those people born in American Samoa and Swains Island are U.S. nationals. So that's it. That's their claim. And they think that being U.S. nationals gives them some kind of freedom that the Constitution doesn't provide. I don't understand. It's really complicated. Obviously, these people, frankly, I think they are suffering from some kind of mass delusion. They don't believe they don't believe anything that happens or that's based in reality. Their view of the Constitution and American law is simply so skewed. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. So anyway, that's this latest video on Mr. Lovett. I will be revisiting him again. He's got lots of videos, lots of stuff to talk about. We're going to investigate this a little further, see if we can maybe get to the bottom of what he's talking about. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.